of the Big at the Back podcast. We're back for a special summer episode. My name is Tom. I'm joined, unfortunately, by Matthew Higgins. How are you?
It's not very nice, is it?
Well, we're rusty.
Again,
I thought I'd poke the bear, see if I can get something out of him.
Yeah. What else would I expect from you, though? Yeah, I'm okay. It's summer, even though it's only mid-June. It's fucking hot, isn't it? It's been nice to have a little break from football, although not an entire break. Obviously, West Ham are now European champions, which was
lasted 44 seconds. 44 seconds.
Title of my sex tape. But yeah, obviously England played on Friday. They're playing again tonight as we're recording this. So it's not been a complete break, but I'm fully in like Ashes mode now that the Ashes have started. Cricket season is fully in full flight. So yeah, and before you know it, like they'll start teasing FPL prizes again, and we will not be ready for it. How are you?
I'm good. I'm not even bothering with cricket. I'm just taking a complete cold turkey break. As far as I'm concerned, sport is just my PlayStation. And even that, I just play single player games because I hate interacting with other humans. So I am just completely off it. I'm not looking forward to all the price rumors and all that nonsense. I think I'm just going to, when FPL comes out, pick my first team. I'll spend a day picking my first team. Then I'll leave it till 2 days before. And then I'll start tinkering. Hopefully they don't release it really, really, really early because that would suck, having that kind of gap before the season starts.
Yeah, I reckon you're looking probably about 5 weeks before the season starts, something like that. Like you say, you don't want to be going too early. I'll do similar to you. Whether I'll probably literally just pick 15 random players and go, yeah, that sounds fun. And then I won't look at it like you, probably until the day before. So yeah, but hey ho, we're back. So why don't you tell the fine people of YouTube, Spotify, or whatever platform they're listening on what we've got in store for today?
Cool. So we did this last year and it went down pretty well. So we thought, why not rehash our old ideas? So we're
everyone loves a remake.
Exactly. We're going to go through all of the Premier League clubs and pick what players should be leaving in the transfer window, starting at Manchester City, the title winners, and finishing at Southampton, the losers of the season. I'm excited. How are you feeling, Matt?
Yeah, pretty good. I think we'll probably have quite a bit of overlap, but I think hopefully with any luck, there'll be some sort of variety here as well.
Yeah, I've tried not to go for the super obvious ones in a lot of cases. In some cases I have, but yeah, we'll see how we go. Let's start then with Man City, because I've got two names down. I couldn't decide between the two. And I've got, well, I'll say the first name is Riyad Mahrez.
He was shortlisted for me, but I avoided him in the end. So who was your second name?
Kyle Walker.
It does look like he will be off as well, as the rumours are that he could be off to Bayern Munich. So he's going to go from one team that walks its way to a title every season to another team that walks its way. Well, they didn't this year. They left it to the last minute this year to win the title. But yeah, it's a good shout. I have actually gone for someone a little bit different. So that's good. First up, I went for Aymeric Laporte.
I like it. Yeah, excellent centre back. Can't get game time. Needs to move on. Go back to Spain or something. I agree.
Yeah, that was my thinking. They've got a wealth of centre half talent, and they'll probably sign someone else this year because they always make a big defensive signing every year. So we'll see who that might be. But yeah, I think he'll fall even further down the pecking order. You've got Diaz, you've got Stones, you've got Ake, who sort of deputises at centre back and left back, and then potentially another one. So yeah, see you later.
Yeah, Akanji there as well.
I completely forgot about Akanji. So yeah,
I mean, the thing about Kyle Walker is if you play that well all season, then don't start in the Champions League final. I think that says it's probably time for you to go. But Riyad Mahrez, I just thought it's actually similar to Walker. Plays brilliantly all season, then doesn't start in the Champions League final. He must have been fuming.
Yeah, and both of them rightly so, I would imagine. I'm sure they won't be too upset about it for too long, having both won the treble this season. They'll probably be crying into their huge bonuses. So it could be worse. But yeah, I mean, this will probably come up quite a few times throughout this pod, but like any of these, like Mahrez, you could easily see being someone that will take a huge pile of money from a Saudi Arabian club.
Well, you've seen what's happening with Saudi Arabia, haven't you, at the moment? Like, they're basically in cahoots with Chelsea to try and cheat and get around FFP. So I don't think they're bothering with any of the Man City.
Who would have thought that the Saudi Arabian higher ups and FA and just, well, because it's all one in the same, really. It's their government, it's their sovereign wealth fund, it's their FA. Who would have thought that they're actually not that good? Like, they're just bad people.
I am shocked. How dare you? Shall we move on to the next club? Because I actually thought Arsenal was pretty obvious. I'll let you go first though on this.
So I went.
I know.
Yeah, he's got to go. He's got to go. Now, I went for someone who I would imagine will be leaving, and it's about time because he's had a couple of really rough years, and that's Nicolas Pepe. So he's not getting game time, and he's still young. He needs to reinvent his career and get going again. So he's the one I went for.
Interesting. I thought it was obvious, but yeah, Pepe's a good shout. I've actually gone for Kieran Tierney. He's not getting in that starting 11. He's still young. He's, 25 years old. He's a Premier League quality left back. I think he's still got time to really establish himself in the Premier League, and that's not going to happen at Arsenal. I think Nicolas Pepe potentially over to France, back to France perhaps, into the Farmers League.
I imagine so.
But Kieran Tierney, it's difficult to see many clubs in the Premier League that would say no to him. If he went to a West Ham or an Aston Villa, he did really well.
Yeah, definitely. He would be a great signing for a lot of sort of mid-table sides. And he probably one of those sides that's pushing European football. Maybe, like you say, if it was someone like a West Ham, he would be fantastic for us. But he's below the pecking order. The other person you can mention in the same sort of breath is Tomiyasu, who again is struggling to find his way into that side of a similar age, but obviously not quite as talented. Yeah,
he's a bit rubbish though, Tomiyasu, isn't he? Like, you get the sense of reserve at Arsenal as his peak, realistically.
You got to think, like, what do these players want from their careers? Do they want to be playing it week in, week out? Some players are just happy to sit there and not necessarily just sit there on the bench all the time, but just like get the odd game here and there, cup run. But then fair enough. Why not? It's a career at the end of the day. Make as much money as you can because you retire young and then get out healthy.
I struggle to criticize even these players going to Saudi Arabia in the peak of their careers, like Ruben Neves. I struggle to criticize just because it's such a short career as a footballer. I would basically see it as a case of make as much money as you possibly can before you're out, because you could, one bad injury and you're done. Your whole career's done. You've got to completely reinvent yourself. So once you've got to the top, take full advantage.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, having mentioned Pepe as well. He's one that because there's rumours again that a Saudi Arabian club want to come in for him. He's one of the sort of players that isn't a lot of the players that they're going for are sort of getting towards the tail end of their career and they've been there, done it. Whereas he's someone that's obviously still young, still got probably his prime ahead of him. Where does he see? Does he want to go and take the money, or does he still prioritise like playing Champions League football? Because obviously they play in the Asian Champions League. It's not the same, is it?
No, it's definitely not. Shall we move on to Manchester United then? I have gone for the only Manchester United player I like, and that's Jadon Sancho. He needs to get out of that shithole of a club. Now, with Anthony basically beating the shit out of his girlfriend and threatening to kill her, he's not going to be playing football anytime soon. Well, you never know. Mason Greenwood may be back. But based on that, I think that they're going to definitely keep Sancho, which is a real shame because he needs rescuing.
It's a tough one because, Sancho was very close to being my choice here as well. But I think he can still turn it around there. So that's why I just about swayed away from him in the end. I could have said Mason Greenwood because he needs to leave England, but obviously that felt like very low hanging fruit.
He needs to leave freedom in England.
Yes, yeah. So, but yeah, by all accounts, there are clubs that are going to come in with loan offers for him, potentially in Turkey or I can't remember where else I saw, but yeah, he could still have a career ahead of him, but probably just not in England. I sort of had two players here, and again, they're players that need to get away for the sake of the future of their career because they're not getting game time. And that is Eric Bailly and Donny van der Beek, who have both been out with injuries, or Van der Beek's been out on loan, which wasn't very successful. Another name I toyed with Harry Maguire. Like, he's someone that if he really wants to kick on and maintain his place in this England side for the next 3-4 years, he really needs to go and get first team football.
Yeah, I mean, they're talking about him going to Tottenham at the moment, which it just feels like the very, very stoppable force meeting the very, very movable objects. That defense can only be improved, and Harry Maguire can only get better than what he's been. However, put them together, and they'll both find a way of getting worse.
It sounds great, though. It sounds funny.
It sounds hilarious. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for it. Yeah, I actually think Harry Maguire is my favourite shout there because he was such an established first-team player, and now he's just been completely frozen out. And rightly so, he's been appalling. But I think he needs to move on as well. Who have you gone with for Newcastle?
I have gone, and this is difficult to say now because obviously they need more depth with their Champions League squad, so they're all going to have a bit more rotation with these games week in, week out. I've gone for Alan St-Maximin, the most fun player to watch, and I want to watch him week in, week out.
I just want to watch him playing football. I don't care what league. I just want to watch him play.
So yeah, it was a no-brainer for me here. If he's not playing week in, week out, he should be, because just as we've said on this podcast so many times before, he's a great, entertaining player.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I remember early in the season when he came on and got 3 assists against Man City. Oh, I love him so much. He's so good. Liverpool are next.
I'll let you take the lead on this one because you being the Liverpool fan.
Have you got Mo Salah just to wind me up for a trend?
I was tempted, but I haven't.
I put Fabio Carvalho. So we got him from Fulham, and the challenge is at Fulham he was playing in like a wide forward position, or more in a 4-4-2 diamond position. Now Liverpool don't play like that, so you've got to look at where Fabio Carvalho could play in the Liverpool side. The midfield three, he's not technically good enough or strong enough on the ball in the same way that a Harvey Elliott is, for example, who's around the same kind of age bracket.
And Curtis Jones.
Well, actually, yeah. Looking at the forward line, look at the competition there. It's like Darwin, Salah, Diaz, Jota. I mean, Gakpo. He's not getting anywhere near that. So for the sake of his career, I think he does need to move on. And I'd like to see him go back to Fulham, to be honest, because he was awesome there. But I think it's sad because I like Carvalho as a player, but he just doesn't fit into the way Liverpool play. So I think he needs to go.
I completely agree with everything you've said. And he was, again, one that I was very close to putting down. But I was similar vein. I went for someone who's not going to be getting, is a good player, but isn't going to be getting game time. And that's Kostas Tsimikas. Because
he's a shit player. He's so bad.
But he is banter.
He is. But
he's an absolute hero.
I'd love him to
and he's a lot older than I thought he was. He's 27.
Yeah. I'd love him to leave Liverpool. That would make me very happy. Carvalho would make me a bit sad. Tsimikas wouldn't. I'll drive him wherever he needs to go.
Yeah, but what about that? Like the start of the season when Robertson was injured and everyone just went to Tsimikas and he got a couple of big hauls. That was fantastic.
It's so ridiculous.
The good old days, eh?
The good old days. Yeah, Carvalho wins that.
Yeah.
Let's go for Brighton next, because for me, Brighton was a bit obvious. McAllister aside, because he's already gone. So who have you put for Brighton?
It's Moises Caicedo for me. He's a Champions League quality player. He's fantastic. He should be playing Champions League football next season. Someone's going to come in with a big offer for him, and Brighton are probably going to have to accept it.
Agreed. If you're looking, and you're going to hate me for saying this, if you're looking at Rice for 100 million or Caicedo for 70 million, I'd go Caicedo.
The thing that always happens, you pay a premium for an English player because of the homegrown slots in the Premier League squads. So that's why Rice is probably going to go for more.
Agreed. But yeah, I think Caicedo is a Champions League.
1-0 England.
Excellent. Was that Harry Kane?
Of course, it was Harry Kane.
Excellent. So the bet wins. Nice.
Yep. Super Boost is in.
That's all we care about. Cool. Aston Villa. I have two names for Aston Villa for different reasons. So the first name is kind of obvious, right? It's Phil Coutinho. Hasn't worked out. You've still got an opportunity. Go back to Spain and reinvent yourself. Go to Italy. You could be awesome there. And AC Milan would probably take him. So that's number one. Number two is because I think he's better than Aston Villa, and that's Ollie Watkins. If you look at his conversion rate, he's as good as any forward in the Premier League, including Harry Kane. I think Ollie Watkins is wasted at Aston Villa, and he could go to Manchester United and lead the line for years. I think Ollie Watkins is the other one for me.
Yeah, again, these are two that I definitely consider. But again, I've gone different. We've not had a lot of agreements so far, and this is good. But for the same reason that I think he's better than Aston Villa, I went for Emiliano Martinez. World Cup winning goalkeeper, Golden Glove at the World Cup. Use the trophy as a pretend penis. You've always got to respect that. But yeah, I think again he's someone that should be playing Champions League football. He's a great keeper and he's a great shithouse. So get him in the Champions League.
My favourite moment of the season that wasn't anything to do with Liverpool winning 7-0 against Manchester United, because I'm always going to talk about that forever. But my favourite moment of the season was Emiliano Martinez shithousing Arsenal, only for them to go and score 2 minutes and 95 and 2 goals in 6 minutes. And it's like, yeah, if anyone deserved that, it was you. But yeah, I agree to an extent. I'm not sure he's better than Aston Villa. Aston Villa are a club in the Europa League. If you look at the goalkeepers in the Premier League, Alisson better, Ederson better. Man U, maybe he could go to Man U.
Man U, Spurs. Not that Spurs are like a big side anymore, but again,
we'll come over to Spurs and their keeper in a minute. Actually, let's talk about Spurs now. Who have you gone for? The obvious aside.
I mean, it's the obvious answer because it's the right answer. I mean, it doesn't look like he's going to go. It looks like they're going to let his contract run down and let him go on a free. But it's Harry Kane. If he wants to win a Premier League title, which presumably he does,
in general,
or any trophy, he needs to leave Spurs. It's all well and good scoring goals after goals every season, but if he's the only one putting his weight in that side, he should go to another team where his goals might contribute to a little bit more.
I'm sorry, their manager that they've got won the league with Celtic. Like, that's Steven Gerrard has a better managerial record than that because he won the league with Rangers, who were the second best in that division. Like, the managerial choice is unbelievable. You've got to imagine he's not going to be there long. There's going to be a release clause somehow that Levy activates at some point soon.
It's got an interesting one to see. I mean, from what I've read about him, he seems to be quite an interesting character and he wants to play a good attacking brand of football, which obviously their last few managers have maybe lacked. But
Nathan Jones 2.0.
It would be funny.
It would be. It's more out of hope than expectation. He'll probably be fine. But that's all you can really say about him.
Let's be honest, he only got the job because so many other people turned them down.
Yeah, like Nagelsmann didn't want it, did he? I've gone for someone different at Spurs on the basis of Kane's obvious and it's obviously the right answer, but just to stoke discussion, I've looked at also Ryan Sessegnon.
Yeah, that is not a bad shout at all.
I think he's a really, really good attacking fullback. He's wasted at Spurs. He's not even guaranteed game time because an 84-year-old Perisic is there. I think Ryan Sessegnon should be looking elsewhere for first team football.
Yeah, and they've got about 17 wing backs in their first team squad. So, yeah, it's a good shout. I like that.
Now they've signed Pedro Porro as well. Your
Absolute
favourite
baller,
player.
mate.
So Brentford for me is really easy. David Raya. I think he's looking like he's going to go to Spurs.
Yeah, that's it. Same one for me. I think it was really hard for Brentford because what we've always said about Brentford is they're greater than the sum of their parts. So none of their players, other than Ivan Toney, really stand out. And let's be honest, no one's probably going to be signing Ivan Toney for the next 8 months. So David Raya is the obvious standout exception. He's a very good goalkeeper. He's good playing the ball out from the back with his feet, which is what a lot of clubs want, especially at the top end of the league. So it looks like he's going to be on his way to Spurs, and I think that is a very good signing for them.
Yeah, it's a good move for all parties, really, I think. Next club is Fulham, and I think I know who you're going to pick, and I'm going to argue against it. So go.
You know I'm going to pick. But it's purely selfish reasons, and that's João Palhinha, because I want him to come to West Ham as the Rice replacement. By all accounts, for West Ham, it was between him and Edson Alvarez, and we've decided against the valuation of Alvarez. Seems as though Fulham are going to want 50 million for him, which I think if you're getting 100 million for Rice, 50 million for Palhinha is a very good deal coming in.
I don't think Fulham are going to sell him for 50 million. I genuinely don't. Last year he signed a 5-year contract, no release clause. He's the cog that keeps the midfield moving. I think he's untouchable as far as Fulham are concerned. If you can get
what you've always got to take into account in these situations is what the player wants as well. And if the player wants to move, then stopping them can be detrimental to the player and the club as a whole.
You're competing with Barcelona, though. And if a player is going to be picking between West Ham and Barcelona, he's going to go to the European Conference League champions, West Ham. Good.
Massive.
So I disagree with Palhinha because I don't think he's going anywhere. Tony Khan came out and said there's no release clause. Don't be ridiculous. We wouldn't be that stupid. He's got a 5-year contract.
Yeah, but have you seen some of the things that Tony Khan tweets about, especially even the wrestling stuff? He's just an absolute... I love it when you see him on AEW and he just looks like he's coked up to the eyeballs.
Yeah, absolute nutter. The player I've gone for is Tete. Really, really good wing back. I'd love him to come to Liverpool. Excellent cover for Trent. Can come inside. Really good defensively. Really good going forward. Young and only has a year left on his contract. I think he'd
you could get him at right back and push Trent into midfield where he finally belongs.
I think
as he proved in the England shirt on Friday.
I mean, he played against Moldova. Like, come on. But I think it's the same bloody thing. I think Tete is a really, really good buy for a top Premier League club. Palace. I had trouble with this one. Zaha's too obvious, right? So I've actually gone for Michael Olise. I don't think he's ever really going to be the star of that team. I think he's always going to be underutilized and underworked. And if he stays at Palace, his career is going to pass him by. If he moves, he could become the star. So I think Olise is the one that needs to leave Palace.
It was one of two for me, and one of them was Olise, and the other one is Eberechi Eze. And I think in the same vein, I think Eze is a fantastic player. He's still young. He could make the move onto like a European club, and that can be a stepping stone once again to go even further. Who knows? It's basically what you said about Olise. I would include Eze in that conversation as well.
Yeah. Who have you gone for Chelsea?
All of them.
I mean, they're all going to Saudi. So...
Yeah, exactly. Aubameyang, Pulisic, Mendy, Ziyech, Havertz. Because if someone's willing to pay Kai Havertz a lot of money to play football, he might as well take it because he's fucking rubbish.
I mean, I've gone Pulisic because I think he's a good player. Havertz, I think, is shit. Mount, I think, is shit. Aubameyang, don't get me started. But Pulisic could be a really, really good player at a good club. I think Mount is probably going to go to Man U, which is really, really funny. Like, imagine you're Man U. You've got loads of money from new investors, and your top summer transfer target is Mason fucking Mount. Like, what the hell are they smoking over there? Like, they could.
I'm in a different boat to you. I quite like Mason Mount, but he's not your Man United number one target summer signing.
No, he's a bang average squad player.
I mean, it sounds like Mendy's off to Saudi. That's pretty much been confirmed today.
Koulibaly looks like he's going as well off to Saudi.
Yeah, so there's going to be a trove of ex-Chelsea players living it up in Saudi Arabia this time next year. 2-0 to England.
Excellent.
Bukayo Saka.
For Wolves, I've gone for Sarr, the goalkeeper. Like you with Martinez, I think he's too good for Wolves. I think he can get into better teams. I actually think he could be a really nice replacement for David Raya moving along. But yeah, I've gone for Sarr from Wolves. Who have you gone for? Because I know Ruben Neves has just gone, so we can't really say that.
I went for Sarr as well. It was for my two would have been Sarr and Neves. I think with Wolves, the rest of the squad, there's not really any standouts. So Sarr for me was the best player that was worth moving on. It looks like Neves is another one that's taken the Saudi money, which seems a really strange one when Barcelona were there waiting for him. But money's money.
Money's money.
Money talks.
As we said earlier, as a footballer, you've only got a certain amount of years. Rake it in while the sun shines.
I was listening to a podcast last week, and they were talking about how comparing it to China when all the Chinese money came in, probably 10 years ago, not quite 10 years ago, 8 years ago, or whatever it was, and they're comparing it because a lot of the Saudi money is from the state, but the Chinese money was state backed, but it was private corporations that were doing it. To put into perspective, the top salary that any player got in China was Oscar. I can't remember exactly how much it was, but the offer they had out to Messi was 10 times what Oscar was on in China.
I mean, you say that, but Messi is going to get more in the MLS than he would from Saudi.
He's not.
He is, and I'll tell you why. Because Messi's MLS deal is much cleverer. So Saudi's was just financial. The MLS deal, he gets 10% of Apple TV subscriber rights because he said, I'm the content creator, I'm the drawer, therefore I'm the reason that people are going to buy Apple TV. And Apple have agreed. And they said, yeah, you're right. Therefore, you can have a cut of our profits. He's done the same with Nike. He's done the same with Adidas. I'm the reason people are going to buy. He's worked with all of these different brands who have put into his contract that while he's playing football and for like 2 years afterwards, he is the content creator who's going to draw people into buying these brands. So he gets a share of Apple TV rights in the US. That's going to be bigger than the 1.6 billion alone.
I mean, that's worth it just to be part of the Ted Lasso family.
Exactly. I'm only episode 6. We're going to watch more after this, so don't ruin anything for me.
No worries.
Let's move on and go to West Ham because you can give a lot more information on that. And I've just put Jared Bowen to troll you.
It's why not? But he had a poor season for his standards. But there you go. It's obviously the obvious answer is Declan Rice. He has to leave. He will be playing Champions League football, and rightfully so, because he is that good. I hope he goes to somewhere where he wins trophies. That's all I hope for him because he deserves it, if you ask me.
Do you want him going to City?
I would rather he goes to City than Arsenal.
Yeah, and I actually think City are a much better trophy-winning side. I think Arsenal, if they're not careful, they could really drop off. I still think they'll get top 4 next season, but I don't necessarily think top 2 is an all but certainty. If they get Rice, actually, maybe. We'll see. Rice is the obvious one. For Bournemouth, I went for Billing. I struggled with this one because I was thinking maybe Solanke. Then no, Solanke's a bit rubbish.
Yeah.
I think Solanke and Bournemouth work. I think Billing is the only player I could see stepping up from Bournemouth.
It was really hard. I went for Marcus Tavernier. I think he's fairly decent, and I had to pick someone. It's all happened today.
Anyway.
Yeah, they got rid of Yeah, that's seen a really weird one. Brought in the ex-Rayo Vallecano manager who none of us know anything about. So, it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Probably badly.
12 Europa League games. That's what we know.
That is true. 5 years in management. What a weird tweet that was.
shall we look at Forest then? Because Forest is interesting. Who have you gone for?
I've gone for Brennan Johnson.
Uh,
I think he's pretty decent and he can step up. So I just think, yeah, he's. I mean, you could have picked so many here, but obviously they've released a few players like Jesse Lingard's gone. What a move that was.
I mean, it was a risk and they did it as a 1 year thing. Also, as much as Forest spent loads of money, they actually had one of the lowest wage bills in the Premier League last season, which I didn't realise. So it wasn't as completely brain dead as you might expect from a club going a bit crazy. Similar reasons to you, but I actually went for Awoniyi. I think he's, especially in the end of the season, he looks really good when he was playing. And both he and Johnson probably looked a little too good for Forest.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think they're both decent shouts, to be fair.
Yeah, I like both of them. Everton was just a case of who's probably a little bit too good for Everton. And the answer is honestly none of them, because they're all rubbish. But I guess the least rubbish of the lot for me was Onana.
What's my name?
Exactly.
Insert great dad joke. I went for 3-0 Rashford.
There we go.
That was easy tapping. What were we saying? Yeah, I went for Pickford because I think
Pickford and Everton are like hand and glove. That is the perfect club for him, and he is the perfect goalkeeper for them.
I think he's a fairly decent keeper. So put him somewhere that's not a relegation battle, basically.
What club do you think would be interested in signing Pickford if he was to leave Everton?
I could see him being like a David Raya replacement at Brentford.
I don't think he's good enough. I think there's better keepers in the Championship, to be honest.
I'd take him at West Ham if we didn't have Areola as someone waiting in the wings to take over from Fabianski.
Yeah, Areola's great. Leicester, shall we do the relegation tree? Should we rifle through them?
Madison, Barnes, all of them.
Madison and Barnes, there you go, done.
Iheanacho.
Kelechi Iheanacho, I can't wait for him to beat Mitrovic's record in the Championship as a top ever goal scorer.
I just hope he moves back to a Premier League club so we can still talk about him in our podcast next season.
I would love him to go to Man U and be the top scorer in the Premier League next season. Leeds, Rodrigo, done.
Yeah, 100%. That is just Yeah, I mean, Bamford you could see going up to a Premier League side, but just with the injuries, he probably could do with a season in the Championship.
Yeah. Southampton, James Ward-Prowse feels too easy, right?
I mean, yeah, but
who else?
Yeah, like maybe like a Kyle Walker-Peters, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the name I was going to suggest as well, because he could be a good backup right back for a lot of Premier League clubs. But yeah, James Ward-Prowse is the only one who would realistically start in most Premier League clubs. Not for 52 million, though.
That's a bit crazy money, but we'll see what they do. I mean, Spurs have been, was it 50 million for Madison and Barnes?
Spurs are so funny, man. Where do you think Spurs will finish next season? Because I don't see them getting much higher than the 8th place they got this season. The transition from mid-table club begins now, and Harry Kane's going to leave for free. So then the transition will continue, and I think they're on a slippery slope. And I'm very excited for it.
I think they'll do well to improve on 8th, but it depends on clubs like Brighton, how they deal with European football, Aston Villa, how they deal with European football. So and obviously Spurs haven't got that worry next season.
Yeah, true. And they have got Richarlison, who's the best player in the world. I mean, he hates the Spurs top so much, he took it off for goals he didn't score and got Picarded for it. So
he had a one-on-one for Brazil last night, tried to take it around the keeper, fluffed it, got tackled, tried to lay it. It was just, it's a shambles.
He is a shambles of a footballer. Hey ho, flop of the season. Right, that is...
We've missed someone.
Haven't we? Have we?
Yeah, nice. We only did 2 of the relegated sides. Oh no, Leeds. But I forgot about Rodrigo.
Leeds.
Yeah,
Rodrigo done. Next.
Sorry.
That was it. Cool. You can tell we're rusty, can't you?
It's been like 4 weeks, It's shit as it the fan. I have no idea what I'm doing anymore. Not that I had any idea in the past.
I finished top 150k on FPL, so I at least made it past that margin, and we just maybe won't talk about your season, right?
What's FPL?
Exactly. Cool. We will be back with some more content if we can think of it, or if we can be bothered to do it, or if there's anything we think is going to be fun to talk about. Otherwise, have a great rest of the summer, guys. Try and turn your brain off, and we will be seeing you very soon. You can find us on Twitter at Big at the Back.
Yep, and I'm at Higgins92. Tom is at Tom Madden92. Enjoy your summers. Hope you're getting away somewhere nice. Have a nice holiday. Switch off for a few weeks, because the roller coaster that is FPL will be starting before you know it.
I can definitely wait a bit longer.
Yeah.
Have a great summer, guys. Bye.